and his Neuroracer project got on the cover of the journal Nature, the only time they've actually had a video game on the cover of that magazine, and really sparked this whole company that uses a game to treat ADD, ADHD, and they've shown that it has effects comparable to Adderall or Ritalin, but unlike those drugs, the biggest side effects are occasional headaches and frustration. So it's much easier for people to consider adopting it than as a way to deal with their ADHD.
So what's the secret to the success of a game like Neuroracer?
Well, in this particular case, I mean, this is part of what fascinates me and why the neurological side of this is so interesting, is that as game developers, we've been empirically experimenting with how to engage people's brains and get them excited. The neuroscientists have been doing similar work, but a lot of the tests they do are so boring that they have trouble getting people to do them enough to actually get the data they need. And so it's been one of these, marriages made in heaven where, we get to really learn what's going on inside the brain from people who are experts at it. They get to entertain people enough to actually increase the quality of their research. And with Achilles' product, being attention based, it has a lot to do with what we call dynamic difficulty adjustment in the games industry. That in order to appeal to somebody with ADHD, you need an exceptionally high level of stimulation and excitement, that you can't break through their attention barrier unless you really get them to a point where then they become hyper focused. And a lot of parents of kids with ADHD would complain that I can't interest my son in his homework for more than 5 minutes at a time, but then he puts in 3 hours on Fortnite, no problem, and I have to pull him away from the computer. And it's because that offers a certain degree of stimulation that really grabs all of their attention. And the other part, and so you need to actually have it constantly adjusting the difficulty level, literally on multiple times a second, in order to make it a little bit easier when they're getting too frustrated, making it a little bit harder when it's getting too easy and they may be getting bored. It's central to a lot of games, but you need a higher threshold for somebody with ADHD. And the other part of it that I've been fascinated to learn from the scientist is that I would always think of attention and distraction as simply two sides of the same coin. If you're good at paying attention, you're not going to be distracted. And, if you're easily distracted, you can't pay attention. But it turns out the neural circuitry in those things are quite independent. And you can be very good at focusing, but still be easily distracted by something that pulls you away. And that's often something people with ADHD struggle with. Or, conversely, you could be, really good at ignoring distractions, but not so good at staying focused on something. Maybe you're really good simply at clearing your mind and not hearing somebody yelling at you to, stop staring into space. So at any rate, the game works on both those pathways at once and specifically tries to push you to the level of performance that you're just at the sort of sweet spot of succeeding often enough that you're excited to keep going, but failing often enough that you have to actually keep putting maximum effort into it. And that's when your neurons make new connections.